Welcome to Ghostly, the podcast that puts the paranormal on trial.
Every 2 weeks, I unearth a chilling ghost story, tracking down the legends, the eyewitness accounts, and the history behind a haunting.
And I, your friendly neighborhood skeptic, get to tag along to poke holes in her theories. My job is to find the logical explanations, the creaky floorboards behind the ghostly footsteps.
In the end, it's not up to us, it's up to you, our listener, to weigh the evidence.
So you get to decide, is it a genuine haunting?
Or is it all senseless talk?
But before we summon the spirits today, make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. It's the best way to make sure that you never miss a new spooky tale.
As always, we are your hosts.
I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca. Now let's turn down the lights and see what's waiting for us in the shadows. Is the Ringwood Mine area in New Jersey haunted?
In Jersey?
In Jersey. All the haunted mines are in Jersey, it seems.
There is some in Virginia and stuff like that.
I know. But we just happened to find a couple jerseys.
Yeah, we're starting off on the upper East Coast.
There it is.
Yeah. So I would like to say before we begin, I don't usually like to cover business before we begin, but this is important that you all know this, that we are taking December off and we will be back on January 7th.
You bet.
So spend time with your family and tell them about Ghostly and catch up on all those episodes that you missed. Sandra, I know that you missed them.
And, just keep an ear out. I mean, make sure you're subscribed just in case. Just in case.
Yeah, you person in the yellow shirt, I know you missed those episodes. Go back and listen now.
And, you just never know. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, just re-listen to all of them then. You might as well start it, Start the end of 2025 on a high note. Or a low note.
We're talking about different things.
Oh, what are we talking about?
I'm saying keep subscribed because you never know what might happen in December. What might?
Yeah.
Regular listeners to Ghostly know there might be something.
Well, you don't unsubscribe to a podcast because they're taking a month off.
Just in case.
Okay. Well,
don't.
Yeah. Sandra, you don't unsubscribe. I'm sorry if your name is Sandra. I'm not really talking to you. So I know you're going to say that it's a ghost.
But if you're wearing a yellow shirt, we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so let's get into the episode then. So they say that traumatic events leave a stain on the land. If that is true, then Ringwood, New Jersey should be the most haunted place in America. This is the place where men worked knee-deep in freezing water with no hope of a union. A place where dynamite explosions were just the cost of doing business. And a place where a major corporation dumped its poison in the dead of night, betraying the people who live there. Is the ground here cursed? Or is it only the monster of negligence of man?
Deep beneath the forest of Ringwood lies abandoned mines and the ghosts that never left them. From warning knocks to lantern-lit phantoms, these hauntings have terrified locals for generations, reminding us that sometimes the dead really do linger, and not every shadow can be explained away by human negligence.
Warning Knocks would be a good name for a band, too. Just putting it out there, yeah. And you don't have to spell it like Knox like that. You can find some, alternate way of spelling. Yeah. Right. Anyways, yeah, so we have another mine episode. This is 2 mines in a row.
Yeah. I mean, nothing scarier, as I said last time.
Yeah, like Minesweep. That game is so scary.
Just imagine that you were in a mine. And you were sweeping for mines. I mean, it's all the things.
But that game has nothing to do with mines or anything.
Well, it's a different kind of mine.
Is it?
Than what we're talking about now. I mean,
well, it's not mine.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you play video games, you plant a mine, and then when someone comes by, and that's Minesweep.
Okay. Yeah.
You got to mark the mine so you don't step on them.
I got you. Speaking of stepping on stuff, Rebecca, do you have a ghost story for us?
I do.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
I only meant to stop for a quick break. Just 10 minutes to rest my legs before climbing the last stretch of Hope Mountain. The old flooded mine shaft wasn't even on my map. I just stumbled across it. A perfectly still pool of black water hidden between the rocks. I sat on a fallen log unwrapped my sandwich, and tried not to think of how deep that hole must go. About halfway through lunch, the water below me rippled. Not from wind, there wasn't any. This ripple came from underneath. I leaned forward, expecting maybe a turtle or a fish. Instead, something pale broke the surface. At first I thought it was a branch. But branches don't bend at the wrist. A hand, a human hand, rose straight up from the center of the shaft. Water streamed down its fingers, the skin silvery and cold-looking, like it hadn't touched sunlight in years. Then the arm followed, slow and silent, reaching towards the air as if trying to grab a hold of it. I froze. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just stared as that hand hovered there, trembling slightly, like whoever it belonged to was fighting their way upward through something heavy. And then, just as suddenly, it slipped backwards, not sinking like a body would, but pulled, as if something dragged it down from below. The water stilled, smooth as glass again. I waited. A minute, 2, 5, nothing. Part of me wanted to believe it was a log or a trick of the light. But when I finally forced myself to stand, I noticed something on the rock ledge, just inches above the waterline. A wet handprint. Clear, fresh, and so small it could have belonged to a teenager. That's when I remembered the local story, the story about a boy who fell into a shaft in the 60s and was never recovered. I left my sandwich, my pack, everything. I just ran. And the whole way down the mountain, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still reaching up, still trying to pull themselves out, hoping the next person who comes along won't look away.
Wow. So how much of that is based on facts?
All of it up until towards the end. A little bit. But there is a story, and we're going to talk about it.
There is a story. Okay. Now, I'm having a difficult time here because we're talking about ghosts, and we're talking about scary stuff and horrific events. Mm-hmm. And I look outside, and I'm seeing Christmas lights. And it really makes me think of like Gremlins.
Oh, yeah, right.
You know, which is a classic Christmas movie.
Of course, classic.
But Die Hard
just
is
like
not.
Die Hard.
It's
just
not,
like
no.
Die Hard is. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really spooky. There's going to be a lot of stuff in here. You know, I mean, I do get into some details about some of the working conditions here. So, you know, I will say if you get triggered by stuff like that, this might be a triggering episode. Yeah. I don't think it will. I mean, I think we can talk about stuff like this because it's so distant. Mm-hmm. But just so we're on the same page.
Yeah, this is a dark episode.
It is kind of dark. Yeah.
Good for dark winter times. Maybe, I mean, again, if smaller listeners, maybe have your bigger listener listen first.
Yeah, screen it.
Just in case.
Yeah. So I'm ready to get into the Pat Facts. Are you?
Pat Facts. Let's do it.
Pat's Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pat's Facts. He presents it all to you. Pat's Facts.
All right. So this is the history of a place that started as a treasure chest for America. And when I say that, I am not just throwing words out. This mine right here might have won us the Revolutionary War.
Oh, perfect timing with the
exactly.
Ken Burns.
I was just going to say that too. Ken Burns had a Revolution episode or a series, and it is so good, but it's like a lot. So a lot more than you would ever think went into the American Revolution than what actually did. But this is definitely tied in with that.
Yeah, I wonder. I haven't finished watching it yet, but anyways, I like this tie-in.
I doubt he's going to mention it, but I will say that they did a lot for.
Okay,
they did a lot for it.
Okay,
but Ringwood ended up becoming a poison for the people living there. This is the story of Ringwood Mine in New Jersey. So before all the heavy machinery and the toxic waste that was there, the story actually began by mistake. In 1730, you all remember 1730, I'm sure.
Of course.
A traveler named Cornelius Board.
I love that name.
Cornelius.
That's very Christmas.
Yeah. Was hiking through the mountains. He wasn't looking for iron, though. He was looking for copper, which is, still something that people are looking for all the time.
Oh, you bet.
A lot of people driving around in old pickup trucks looking for the copper and stuff. He never found copper, though. Cornelius was not that lucky. But then again, he was kind of lucky. He stumbled upon this heavy black rock sitting right on the surface. And he realized that he had found iron ore.
Okay.
Cornelius Board found the treasure, but the Ogden family knew how to turn it into an empire.
Okay.
So the deal. The Ogdens were a wealthy, powerful family from Newark. They saw the potential immediately. In 1740, they made a deal with Cornelius Board and bought 16 acres of his land to get that iron.
Which, by the way, I mean, did he own the land? Did he steal the land? We're just acknowledging that. But anyways.
It's hard to say in the 1700s.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The family formed the Ringwood Company. They didn't just want the mine. They bought thousands of acres of forest around it because they needed huge amounts of wood to burn in the furnace to melt the iron ore. So this is not very eco-friendly, I guess.
No.
Eventually, the mines became a war machine. During the American Revolution, as I was speaking of, the iron from Ringwood was used to make the giant chains that George Washington stretched across the Hudson River to stop the British ships.
Oh, cool.
Which is something I have not seen in the Ken Burns thing, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, we'll see. And I bet they also gave plenty of money.
I don't know that for a fact. So.
But I'm just thinking. But anyways.
So by the 1800s, the mine, owned by two very rich men at this time, Peter Cooper and Abram Hewitt, they lived in a 51-room mansion called Ringwood Manor. But while they lived in luxury, their workers lived in a nightmare. So they built this mansion overlooking the mines, or in the general vicinity on the 16 acres, so that they could be close to where their workers are working. So imagine you're working there. So you need to wake up before the sun, and you need to walk miles to a hole in the ground. I'm not just saying that like it's a dive. It is literally a hole in the ground.
Right. This is not like, sometimes we think of old cartoons where it's a mountain and there's like a doorway into the mountain.
This is not that.
Or Lord of the Rings, right? This is not that.
This is, they're digging straight down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then you would climb down a deep shaft into total darkness. The only light that you would have would be the candle on your helmet.
Yeah, there's no electricity. There's no flashlights.
No.
At this place. Oh my gosh, that's crazy talk.
Let's talk about some more things though too. So the mines were often flooded because they're digging down into the earth. Records tell us that when the pumps failed, because they would pump out the water,
right,
men had to work standing knee deep in freezing water all day long.
Wow.
Like if the pump failed before you started, you just knew you were going to be there forever. Yeah. And it wasn't just men, right? In the 19th century, young boys were often used to push heavy carts of ore through narrow tunnels because they were small enough to fit.
Yep. It's like when you think of in Mary Poppins, like the chimney sweeps that were the boys because they could fit.
Yeah.
Or I guess not Mary Poppins so much as Oliver Twist, but
Please, can I have some more?
Like they can,
So the mines were hungry in those days, and they took many lives. In the I made that sound like some pirate thing or something.
The mines are hungry.
Yeah. In the 19th century, there was no such thing as safety regulations. There was no OSHA, Rebecca.
Oh, okay. No one was coming by to just check it off, make sure it was good.
Yeah, and the most common killer was the ore itself.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. The miners loaded rock into heavy buckets that were pulled up by ropes, And if a rope snapped, the bucket came crashing down. In the nearby mines, reports describe men being crushed instantly by falling buckets weighing thousands of pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this is a little bit different than our other one, but it has some similarities, though.
Yeah.
We'll get into one of them in a little bit, but I want you guys to notice that there is a difference, though. This is straight down into the earth, so it's a very different kind of mine.
Sure.
The shafts were hundreds of feet deep and slippery with moss and water. One wrong step on a rotten ladder meant instant death.
Ooh.
So here's where we got some similarities, though.
Okay.
Miners used black powder and dynamite to blast the rock. Remember in the other one, the story of the newbie?
Powder room, yeah.
The newbie, too?
Yeah, they would, do the tricks, yeah.
Misfires were common here. A man might think a fuse had gone out, walk over to check it, and be blown away.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's like all I can say is, oh my, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
But it's horrible.
Yeah. The state geologist reports from the era are full of short, brutal sentences like killed by a fall of rock or fell down the slope. For the owners, these weren't tragedies, though. They were just the cost of doing business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was not uncommon, right, for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I know, like, when they did the Mount Rushmore, they just, it's like you just kind of build in the cost of how many lives are going to be involved. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And how much you need to pay off the family to forget about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even do that. But so you might think that these deadly conditions would mean that the men would strike, riot, or fight back.
Or not work there.
Yeah. But in Ringwood, it was strangely quiet. So they couldn't really form a union, to have a strike. Why? Because the owners, Cooper and Hewitt, designed a system to make striking impossible. So it's composed of 3 different ways. So we're going to call the first one the fatherly trap. All right. So the owners practiced something called paternalism. So they acted like stern fathers. When the economy crashed and other mines closed, Hewitt kept Ringwood open, even when it was losing money.
Okay.
So you felt some loyalty.
Like we take care of you, when others are out of work.
Yeah.
You work for us, you'll stay at work.
Your friend over there in the other town, they're out of work. So the next one is called the golden handcuffs. In exchange for that job security, though, the owners demanded total obedience. The miners lived in houses owned by the mine, just like in that last episode.
Oh, yeah.
And they bought food from a store owned by the mine, just like the other one. It's like these miners, the mine owners all got together and talked.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they did.
And then the final way, no way out. If a worker tried to start a union or complained about the safety, he wouldn't just lose his job. He would be evicted from his home, and his family would be starved.
Well, and like you said, it wasn't like it would be easy for them to find another place, right?
No, I mean, they were living paycheck to paycheck,
yeah,
pretty much, and on scraps. They would always make sure that the food didn't cost much money, so they didn't need to pay them much. So, but that meant that you could never leave,
right? And
just like Pullman here.
Yeah, and I think you said this last time was like it's not like I bet if you tried to get a job at a different mine, they would be like, oh, you're a union starter or whatever, and probably wouldn't. I mean, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised, if they. Yeah.
Abram Hewitt famously bragged to the press that I have never had a strike. He was right. The Ringwood miners never successfully unionized. They had no one to fight for them.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to get into some stuff.
Okay, so we were back from the 1800s, and now where are we?
We're moving into the 1900s.
Okay.
Middle. We're going to start off in the early, but then we're going to go to the middle right away.
Okay.
So the mines finally closed in 1930s.
Okay.
The tunnels went quiet, but the worst chapter of history was just beginning.
Oh.
In the late 1960s, the Ford Motor Company, you guys have all heard of Fords, right? You've heard of Ford?
Yes.
You ever driven in one?
Yep.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
They bought the land to use as a garbage dump. So Ford had a giant car factory nearby, and they needed to get rid of what they call paint sludge.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, but it isn't. It's a toxic, sticky goo left over from painting cars. So between 1967 and 1971, Ford trucks dumped millions of gallons of this toxic sludge into the old mine shafts and on the ground. So the people living on this land were the Ramapo Lenape Nation. They were not told that the waste was dangerous at all.
Wow.
Children thought the colorful paint sludge was a toy. And they would find slabs of hardened paint in the woods. They were bright blue, pink, and red, like neon colors.
Wow.
And they would slide down them like sleds. They didn't know that it was full of lead, arsenic, and benzene.
Yeah, I mean, kids, they find these brightly colored things. Of course you're going to play with them.
Yeah,
I would have.
absolutely.
Didn't even hesitate.
It didn't take long for the community to realize that the colorful mud was killing them. The health problems in Ringwood weren't just bad luck. They were a pattern. So we're going to talk about some really dark stuff here. One street in the neighborhood, a street named Van Dunk Lane, had so many sick people that the locals nicknamed it Cancer Road. Nearly every house had someone fighting the disease. The kids who played on the paint sludge suffered the most, though. Mothers reported that their children would come home with unexplained nosebleeds that wouldn't stop. Others developed strange, painful skin rashes that doctors couldn't explain. And it wasn't just common sicknesses. So people developed rare conditions like Ewing sarcoma, a bone cancer usually found in old people, not children.
Wow.
And rare blood disorders. So Vicki Gunn, a resident who watched her community suffer, said,
after that, it was like everybody started getting cancer.
Yeah. So the government tried to fix it, but they failed. In 1983, the government placed Ringwood Mines on a Superfund list, the list of the most toxic places in America. In 1994, the EPA declared that the site clean and took it off the list.
What?
This was a lie. 12 years later, in 2006, after reporters found huge piles of sludge still in the woods, the EPA had to put Ringwood Mines back on the Superfund list. It was the first time in American history that a site was declared clean and then relisted because it was still toxic.
Thank goodness for journalists.
Yeah. And probably lawyers, because there was a big
yes.
big lawsuit then too. So the Ramapo people were tired of waiting for help. And in 2006...
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help them if you clean up the site after they all got sick.
Yeah, absolutely. In 2006, more than 600 residents banded together and filed a massive lawsuit against the Ford Motor Company called Man versus Ford.
I'm sorry, they picked a good name for that.
Yeah. And that's a documentary as well, by the way, that you can watch on HBO Max, I believe. Okay. It's called Man versus Ford. It was a classic David versus Goliath battle, though, because the residents were poor and sick. Ford was one of the richest companies in the world with an army of lawyers. It was so dramatic that this is when HBO stepped in to do a documentary about it. After 5 years of fighting, Ford finally agreed to settle in 2011. They paid out roughly $12.5 million to the community. But if you think about it, that's 600 people, and there's a lot of lawyers involved, too. Mm-hmm. So while it sounded like a lot of money, when it was split among 600 people and the lawyers were paid, many families only received a few $1,000s. It wasn't enough to move away, and it certainly wasn't enough to cure their cancer.
Yeah. Perhaps
the hardest part was that the Ford Motor Company settled without admitting any wrongdoing. That's why they settled. Because they didn't have to say that they were in the wrong.
Yep.
They paid the money, but never officially said, "We are sorry." There was one quote, about the poisoning, something to the effect that if I were to go out and poison 10 children, I would be on death row. But a company can poison millions of people and nobody ever is found liable.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's what's happened with all the opioid drugs and stuff like that. Yeah. It's so hard.
Yeah. Today, Ringwood Mine is still a Superfund site. It stands as a reminder of two very different histories. One of the iron that built a nation, so it's a hero, but then a villain because one of negligence that poisoned a community.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. So just so we're clear about this, I am in no way going to be debating against the horrendous conditions, debating against the tragedies that people felt, the feelings that they have about this. I am merely going to be talking about your ghost. That is all.
Absolutely. Of course, we, none of the ghosts that I'm going to talk about, and I haven't even heard any stories, are really related to the toxic part of it. I mean, it's not like a Toxic Avenger or something that's coming out or whatever. But, obviously.
Which, by the way, the new Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage is pretty good.
All right. Yeah. But, I think this is an important story to have told about this site, that the mines and all of that was horrible enough. But, what happened afterwards was pretty terrible.
That is, that's something. Mm-hmm. So do you have anything to add to this history, Rebecca?
No, you did a great job.
All right. A lot. Well, we're going to throw this to our sponsors, and then we will be back in a minute to get to a debate. Rebecca. So this has been a deep episode. Hopefully you have some funny ghosts here because I'm ready for some fun now.
Yeah, I don't know if they're funny, but we're going to move to a slightly, I don't know. I think it's not as bad and not as dark as what we were just talking about. All right. So this is a specific story that we're going to start with that I based the story on.
Okay.
So this was in the mid-1990s. A respected archaeologist, Edward Lenik, was surveying near a flooded mine shaft on Hope Mountain, which is one of the mines that's part of Ringwood. And he saw something impossible. A pale hand and a human arm rising slowly out of the black water, then slipping silently back below. Lenik documented the experience in book Iron Mine Trails and later connected the sighting with the tragic 1963 death of a 15-year-old Henry Van Dunk, who fell 50 feet into the mine. He admits that he questioned his own senses, but the image has stayed with him, and he says he's never seen anything like it.
Okay.
He has also said he's been back in the area and didn't see anything again.
Yeah.
But, this is something that he saw. And now we don't know for sure that that arm belonged to this Henry, but that's in his mind. He's like, what ghost could have an arm? And, maybe it was this kid who died.
Sure. Well, I can't explain the arm. I think the arm is probably like an optical illusion. If he really did see it, and if it's not just like the weather conditions or something like that. So what is happening there is around the mine shafts, rocks are falling a lot. And there's also some people that report that pebbles were thrown at them by angry spirits of the miners. What's really happening, though, is that the mine is like Swiss cheese, right? Because this is all like holes in the earth. And they got filled up, but when they filled them up, though, with that toxic sludge, they didn't go to the very core. They just started dumping stuff in the top, hoping that it would fill all of it. So there's pockets. So that's where you get the Swiss cheese. There are miles of hollow tunnels underneath. The ground is constantly shifting, settling and eroding, and that's why they have these sinkholes. So I'm imagining this is one of those sinkholes. That's causing the effect to look like that. Like as it's going down, something goes up. It looks like a hand, but it's actually just like a rock or something. That's what I'm going to say for this one.
All right. I don't know. I mean, this guy seems like a legit guy putting his name on the line.
I
saw a creepy
appreciate
hand.
that.
I mean, I'm assuming he knows what a hand and arm will look like. So he's an archaeologist, got some education.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I believe this guy. So for me, I'm going to give this one an 8.
Okay, so I'm gonna give it a 1 though, because I don't know what his conditions were when he saw it. Like, was it foggy? Was it, I don't know. I don't know all the situation with that.
Okay. All right. So this next one, we're going to go back. We're going to go back to when miners worked in the mines. And they had a belief that every time something bad was going to happen, they would hear unexplained knocking every time. So throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, so 1700s, 1800s, and even reported again in 1947, supposedly, but I think that was after it closed. But miners said that they would hear rhythmic knocks echoing through the shafts with no living workers nearby. Some believed it was a protective ghost warning them to stay away, but others said the knocking was the spirit of a dead miner, quote, wanting company, signaling the next man fated to die.
Interesting.
Oh, so knocking, and it supposedly happened right before bad things would happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that I agree with them that there was probably knocking before bad things happened, because a lot of the bad things that happened were the mines crushing them, were caving in, and the sounds that they might have been hearing, the knocking, might have been that there were rocks falling already, starting the process of this happening. So I'm going to say that I agree with them, but I don't think it's paranormal. I'm going to give it a 0 then, Rebecca.
Yeah, this one, as much as I'd like to say that it's paranormal, I agree. I think it's possible. I mean, it's possible it's paranormal, but I think it's also very possible that it's something shifting or, like something's falling, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to give this one I'll give it a 5. I'll kind of go in the middle there.
Okay. And also I would like to say that when they're making the mine, it's kind of like these mines remind me of like those ant things that you can get.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where they dig down and then they have little paths that they go through, but some of them aren't being used anymore.
Right.
So those crumble together, and the weight of that can also go down and then cause more to...
That's a really good visual. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, so now we're going to move a little bit outside of the mines.
Okay.
We're still in the area, and we're going to go to kind of by the manor that you talked about.
Okay.
But we're talking about the ghost of Robert Erskine.
Okay.
So Robert Erskine was George Washington's surveyor general and confidant in the Continental Army.
He was the general's general?
He was a general. But then he actually took over the mines in 1771 and ran them during the Revolutionary War. I don't know that he owned them. I think he ran them.
Okay.
So
So he ran it.
When he died from being just illness at the age of 45 in 1780, he was buried a couple thousand feet from Ringwood Manor in a partially exposed brick vault topped with a stone slab. So supposedly, legend says that about a century later, that 1880, bricks jostled loose and out came Erskine's specter, followed by his skeleton. I guess this is funnier than I thought. So his ghost followed by his skeleton. The ghost would often sit on top of his brick-lined crypt a couple of thousand feet from the manor, holding a blue lantern. Now, this is a tale that was recorded in a 1951 appendix to the Congressional Record. The skeleton would wander between the grave and the manor, scaring passersby with his rattling bones, is what it said in the record. Now, supposedly, one of the owners, maybe in the 60s or something like that, finally fixed up the crypt. And the sightings slowed down, but never stopped.
Okay. So this is happening from the Revolution on to 1960?
No, it happened after he died. It was it was in the 1880s is when this first started. When the bricks opened his grave, and then he started to come out.
Okay. Well, we don't really have names associated with this. There were not cameras that, captured this or anything like that. So it's hard to say. I think that people make up stories when it comes to these things, when it's like, ooh, did you hear about, old man Withers in his castle over there? Oh yeah, well I heard that he eats children's heads off, It's like that is the kind of, it sounds just very much like a folk story. So I'm going to say that there's not any real evidence supporting this, just that it is written, but there's only one person's name associated with it, and that person is long gone. And
they put it in the record. Someone put it in the record. I mean, there are stories of
there's
people
a lot
seeing
of weird
a blue
stuff
light.
in there.
There's
there's the blue lady too.
We're not in the manor yet, so we're outside of the manor.
Okay.
That supposedly, right? We see this blue light, and I just don't understand why there's a ghost followed by the skeleton. It's just really interesting.
Yeah.
The skeleton's like, "Get back here, ghost!"
Well, sometimes with those windows too, that they could distort the light, making it look blue. And the windows then were very primitive. They're not like the windows we have now.
I don't know if there were
a tint.
This is like
In a crypt, you said. There could be windows in
Oh,
there.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so for me, this one's a 6.
I'm going to say 0 because there's nothing solid on this one,
All right, well then let's go visit the manor.
Okay.
I mean, we could have almost done a whole episode on the manor.
Yeah.
It's got its own thing. So I just tried to pick a little bit from the manor because we
Okay.
don't have time. I mean, I
Yes.
could go on and on. I again could have done 5+ on the manor itself.
Okay.
But at the manor, there's a lot of blue-hued phenomenon.
Yeah.
The same color as Erskine's legendary lantern.
Mhm.
So 2 of the claims that people talk about is seeing glowing blue figures, either in mirrors or going across a hallway, or maybe sometimes it's just a blue aura that's like drifting through.
I see.
Some say that the blue ghost is Erskine's wife or mistress. Others believe it's Eleanor Hewitt. You talked about Hewitt,
Yeah.
the early 20th century lady of the manor. But whoever the identity is, the blue apparition always vanishes in an instant, almost before witnesses can even register what they've seen. So no one thinks they'll ever really be able to identify who it is.
So I think it is a mixture of things for this particular one. I think it's that matrixing or that pareidolia, where people make shapes out of things that aren't really shaped, especially since they're not seeing it very long. And I think it's priming too. So priming is that, well, we just spent a lot of time talking about the blue paint sludges and stuff like that. So, and toxic waste and stuff like that. Listeners' brains now are primed to associate blue with tragedy. So this is a great bit of evidence that you're using because we've set them up for this. But when you look at the old wavy Victorian glass in the manor's windows, it distorts light. So your brain takes a random reflection of the sky or trees around it and mixes it with a tragic story that you already know, and it matrixes that into a human shape. That you aren't seeing a ghost, you're just seeing a reflection and filling in the gaps with the story because you've heard the story before. So it's a mixture of the two.
All right, ghostly listeners, we have a new Pat theory, matrixing. I don't know if we'll remember this because sometimes we forget these things.
That's been an old one though. That's that, we make shapes out of things in our head. We try to see people in different
the pareidolia.
things. Yeah, the pareidolia.
Yeah, but matrixing, that's a new one.
Well, matrixing is the mixing of that and priming.
Is this there's too many words. Are we talking about the movie The Matrix? The blue pills, red pills?
No.
That kind is that the spelling we're talking about? Matrixing?
No, it's just a term. That's all. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm confused by all that. All I know is people are seeing blue people going around in mirrors or walking around, and the reports have been happening for a lot of years. There's a lot of paranormal things that happen.
Let me explain it better. So there is this blue mist that people see.
Uh-huh.
It's not long that they see it. It is like a split second or less than that. But your mind has enough time to then think about it and place a human figure in that particular thing or see one in there, whether it is in the mist itself, you see eyes or something like that forming because there's 2 spots where it's not as filled in, so that is the pareidolia it's you filling in the gaps for that. And then priming is that you've heard the stories. Everyone that is seeing this has heard the stories of this blue lady or the blue mist or blue something. Because a lot of times they see a bluish dress too in the window.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's the blue lady. But in actuality, you're just seeing a reflection. And then you're seeing the sky hit off the window that causes this to happen. And then you're filling in the gaps.
So the sky hits the window, which hits the mirror, which makes the visual for you.
I didn't say anything about the mirror at all. This is perfectly reasonable explanation. This is science.
This is science, everybody.
So
all right.
0.
0 for you.
Hardcore 0.
Hard 0. All right. For me, it's a 7.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people reporting this over the years. Again, what I didn't bring in here, of course, there's a lot of little, like, we hear footsteps, we hear all this other stuff. But this seemed the most interesting to me.
I would like to talk about a couple of other things,
all right,
if you don't mind. So ghost hunters often get crazy readings on their K2 meters.
Ooh, what's a K2? I don't even know what that is.
It's an EMF thing,
okay.
Or compasses spinning wildly near the mines. This claim that it's spiritual energy then, because of all the tragedy that's happened. But in actuality, it's an iron mine. The ground is packed with that magnetite, which is magnetic iron ore. So it causes that. So
sure, that makes
of course
sense.
the EMFs are going off. They're standing on top of one of the largest magnetic deposits in New Jersey. Using a magnetic field detector to find a ghost in an iron mine is like using a metal detector to find a penny in a coin factory.
Pat really wanted me to do this piece of evidence, everybody.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I'm just saying, though. So if you look it up yourself and you think about EMFs, EMFs are not valid here because of the
okay, that makes sense.
The magnetite. Also, too, I was reading about this in my skeptic journals that people report sudden intense feelings of fear, dizziness, or feeling watched when near the open mine shaft. Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, so this is the
I don't
weirdest...
recommend anyone go anywhere near these shafts.
No, I don't. I don't think
gosh.
you should either because of the toxic stuff and because you might fall in too. Okay, so here is a really interesting fact about this place. Open mine shafts act like giant flute bottles. Right? Because when the wind blows across the opening of a deep shaft, it creates a low frequency sound wave. When you go,
okay, gotcha.
Sound wave. And it's infrasound, it's called, that is below the range of human hearing. It's under 20 hertz.
Wow.
So even though you can't hear it, your body still feels it though.
Wow.
Which is really weird. Science has shown that the infrasound causes nausea, anxiety, and a feeling of a presence. The mine is literally playing a scary note that makes your brain panic.
That sounds terrifying.
But it's not at all paranormal. They've been able to measure the sound and everything. They know exactly what it is. So I think that's all that I have that I found too. Because I did look up some ghost stuff. I don't usually do that. This one I was really interested in.
Yeah. It's very creepy.
All right. So we're going to take another short break. And when we return, we're going to get to the aftermath.
Listeners, did you know there's a way to share with the world whether you're hashtag team believer or hashtag team skeptic, or for those who need it, hashtag team the middle? It's our store called Ghostly Gear.
Yep, and we even have custom ghostly designs like microclimate or even the Easter Island Massacre or of the ghostly logo. Just visit our Ghostly Gear store right on ghostlypodcast.com to order your t-shirt, hoodie, mug, mask, whatever.
Okay. I think we got it. They just need to visit ghostlypodcast.com and click on Ghostly Gear to order right on the website and send us any ideas that you have for new merch.
Exactly. Order your merch today and send us a pic of you in your ghostly gear. All right, Rebecca, this is the aftermath. So let's go over the overall ratings first. What is
Okay.
your overall rating?
So I had a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8. So I guess I'm going to go
5, 6,
5,
7,
6,
8.
7, 8. I'm going to, I'm going to go 7 just because it's creepy and there's a lot happening over there.
Okay. I'm going to go 1 because I gave a 1.
Okay.
So
There we go.
And the 1 was only because I didn't know the situation. If I knew the situation, I might change that.
Okay.
Okay, so that brings us to the closing arguments. This is your last chance to convince them to vote your way, Rebecca.
All right.
We are each given 1 minute on Ghostly Studio timer. It should be uninterrupted time, Rebecca, because there's been times you've interrupted in the middle. And we're going to make sure that we're all honest by keeping it with the studio timer. And I've set it up correctly this time.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And go.
All right. So this was such an interesting one. Ringwood Mines is a big area. Lots of horrible things have happened there, both in the past and the far, far past and the more recent past. So obviously, we think of bad energy, but I do think, the story of the arm felt real to me. I do think the idea of seeing a blue light and a specter, that probably that's not an uncommon thing we've heard with ghost stories. And then just so many people reporting paranormal activity at the house, which is a little bit away from the mines, but it's obviously still right there on the land. So yeah, I overall, taking it all in, I'm going to say haunted.
All right. You still had 4 seconds to go.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to put 1 minute on the timer for me, and I'm going to go. All right. With everything that we talked about, the matrixing, the priming, all of the things, I think that we could pretty much dismiss this one. Although I would say that the tragic history does deserve its remembrance. So I think we should take time to remember the ones that have lost their life because of this horrific place. Although the horrifying wasn't caused by paranormal means, and it doesn't mean that there's any paranormal activity happening because of it. So I don't think there was enough evidence here to support that there actually is, especially when you look at the windows and you understand that they're tinted like already. So that's all I got. I had 12 seconds.
There you go.
clock.
All right.
All right. So got a ghost story that you're dying to share? Now you can. Ghostly has an official phone line.
Call or text us with your spooky encounters. And if you leave a voicemail, you just might hear it on the show. You can also say hi or make your voice heard in our latest polls.
Yeah, so here's how to vote. Text the episode title. So this one would be Ringwood Mine. Or you could say 179 because this is our 179th official episode. And yes, if you're a believer. No, if you're a skeptic like me. Then give it a haunting score from 1 to 10, just, so that we have that information. If you didn't give it a haunting score, we would still use your yes or no to determine if it was haunted. Your opinion matters. Let us know what you think. Here's that number. It's 312-869-9929. That's 312-869-9929.
312-869-9929.
312-869-9929. You will not find that anywhere else but listening to the episode. So One day you just have to listen to the episode by your phone so you can call it then. And don't be in traffic. I will say I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and we're going to talk about the polls. I did mess up. I didn't have the Marilyn Monroe poll open with enough time that I feel for people to vote. So we're not going to be reading poll results until January.
We're just going to have big old poll result time and we're going to go through all of our October episodes plus our 2 November episodes. Yeah. We're going to put them all together.
We might even do like a special episode just to inform you of that.
A little bonusy thing. Yeah. So definitely get out there and vote on all of those episodes. You can go to, as long as we're talking about it, right? We can just say, go to ghostlypodcast.com/polls.
Yeah. You can go there and you can let your voice be heard, or text us.
Yeah.
Remember, 312-869-9929, 312-869-9929. That's a lot of numbers.
It is, but, it's all right.
All right. So this is the time we would usually do shout-outs, which, by the way, if you text us, I'll give you a shout-out.
You bet.
So just text us and say, what's up? Or whatever you want to say, or Pat's an idiot, which I would agree with you on that then. But the typical ways, though, you can give us a review on Apple Podcast, and the second way is to become a member on Patreon. We love both of those methods, and if you give us a review on Apple Podcast, use your best judgment. If you think that we deserve a 1, give us a 1. If you think we deserve a 5, though, I'd appreciate that too.
Absolutely. And yeah, join us on Patreon. If you're thinking, oh man, there's no new episode in December, well, join Patreon and you're going to get access to a whole slew of episodes that you haven't listened to.
Yeah.
Before.
And also too, we're planning on doing a meeting probably sometime in late January, early February. So if you're interested in hanging out with us on Zoom, or if you're ever in Chicagoland area and you want to buy us dinner, I mean, Rebecca doesn't say no to a free dinner.
Well, now, okay. All right.
I'm just teasing. We might say no.
Okay. We'll see. Okay. I've got a listener mail.
But if you say please, we're more likely.
Okay. If you say matrix.
Yeah. Matrixing. And priming.
Okay.
Like Amazon priming.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right. I got to get to this letter.
Okay.
We're continuing Nicole's letter. She's been telling us about her aunt and uncle that lived in an old house in Rhode Island. And we've had a couple creepy things, the lights and a ghost that she saw.
And Rhode Island's pretty close to Jersey.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of things going on there. Okay, so we have one more incident that happened at this house. Another incident, she says, happened at that same house at a different time. My sister, my cousin, and I were sitting on my cousin's bed playing with dolls. Her closet didn't have a door, and due to the house being listed on the historic registry, a door could not be added. So there was just a curtain. Well, we were playing, and all of a sudden, the curtain started quickly moving back and forth, and the light in her closet was going off and on. Needless to say, we ran downstairs.
Ooh.
Done. Look at that.
Was that the whole letter, or is there more?
Oh, no, we've got lots more. But that's the last story at this house.
Okay. Now, if you do have your own story that you'd like to share with us, first of all, we already said you could use the phone, 312-869-9929, but you can also send it to us in some kind of form. You could just put it in a DM. You can send it to info@ghostlypodcast.com or Rebecca@ghostlypodcast.com if you want it directly to Rebecca.
Sure.
Or Pat@ghostlypodcast.com for directly at me. And we also love it if you send it in the actual mail too. That is P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134. P.O. Box 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134. Although you're not going to remember that, and that is in the footer of ghostlypodcast.com.
Yeah, just go to ghostlypodcast.com. There's a contact us form there, or you can look up the address. As Pat said, send us an email or send us one of those DMs at Ghostly Podcast.
Yeah. Get into our DMs. Don't let your friends miss out on the chills. Share Ghostly with them and help us grow this community of paranormal enthusiasts. Your support means the world to us. Shout out to our VIP producers who make this all possible. We have Andrew,
Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica,
Alice,
and Aaron. Is
it real? You be the judge. Share your verdict at ghostlypodcast.com poll section and let the debate continue. Subscribe to Ghostly now and get ready for more spine-tingling encounters with the unknown.
All right. Our next episode of Ghostly, we're not telling you what we're talking about, but it will come out on January 7th.
Yes. But until then, enjoy your holidays, have fun with your family, don't argue too much, and stay ghostly.
Bye.